Hello and welcome. Welcome to Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. I am Joy Ruffin. And the work that I do is as a leadership and signature style specialist, executive producer, TV host, and podcaster, and so much more. But every week on a Wednesday, we bring you a leading lady. And today is no exception. In fact, it is special in so many ways. We're going to be talking a lot about things that are endearing to all of us who are in the league of eagles, and that's where you are today. The work that I do is to support women to evolve into all that we're here to be at the highest realm, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. And friends, I want to share with you a wee bit of news before we get going here. We'll be taking, my team and I, a little bit of a hiatus for the month of June. There's so much going on, transitioning period for me in my life, and I'll be sharing that with you a little bit as we move forward, and you'll be seeing a bit of me here, there, and about. But in the meantime, today, well, we're going to be talking about some of my favorite subjects. In fact, I could say my favorite subjects. We're going to be talking about what's the real difference between self-worth, self-esteem, self-love, and how does that align and coincide with confidence? Well, my featured guest speaker is the radiant Elissa. She said it's Melissa with an E, so it's Elissa Freeman. She's a transformational therapist and coach with over 10,000 sessions under her belt. Now, I could go on and on and on sharing with you about her background, which is fantastic. She's lived it because she said once stuck in the depths of poverty and self-loathing, she took one bold step. And you know what that step was? She invested in herself. When I heard that, I said to myself, hallelujah, because that's what ultimately at some point in time, we all have to do. So friends, my League of Eagles, just sit back, relax, and help me welcome our featured guest speaker today, wherever you are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Our featured guest speaker, come on up. Eliza. How are you today? How are you?
Hello, Joy. Yes, it's Elissa. And
Elissa.
I'm
One
very
of
happy
these
to be
days, my
here.
love, thank you for your grace. I'll get it, but I have a hard time with pronunciations. Most everyone knows that now. But you know what I love about you? Your grace. You're so gracious when I do mispronounce it. And you're in a faraway, beautiful country that I know I didn't mention it, but Australia. So I know it's a whole different day and time zone there.
That's
But
right.
Elissa, tell us, how did you come to this phenomenal work that you're doing?
Oh, well, it's a personal journey. So
Mm-hmm.
the most incredible thing that I was gifted with was, you might find this a bit strange, but it was a really traumatic childhood.
Mm.
And I say gifted, and I mean that on purpose, because at the time, and certainly some of the things that we go through with trauma should never happen.
Yes.
But it did. And so why not make the most of it? So it took me a long time to get to that point. Because
Mm.
the thing is that when you have a trauma or an upbringing that isn't the best,
Mm-hmm.
it's very easy to get cycled into that blame game
Mm.
and to see it as, well, it's all their fault, and I just have to stay the way I am, which is with the self-loathing or the low self-esteem, like it was for me. But with all the work that I have done on myself, I realized that, well, hang on, this happened and I can't change it. So why not get something out of it that's positive
Mm.
for me? And maybe that will help other people as well.
Elissa,
It's the
love that.
biggest change for me,
Love,
really.
love, love that. Because that's one of the main reasons that I was attracted to you and your work, because we could change wherever we are and what we're about, and the same underlying core would be there. And I love the way you say that you recycle into, as opposed to saying what most of us say. And when you said it, it resonated as far as being sucked into, which is a much better way to say it. You recycle into it and the trauma that it brought about. How did you come to this explaining to us and knowing it after all of this traumatic upbringing and so on? I had some of it myself somewhat, to separate the difference between self-worth, self-esteem, and self-love. And how do you bring that to the fore now to support the people that you work with to understanding what real, authentic, genuine, true, authentic confidence is about? How do you do that?
Okay. So there is a big difference between confidence and self-worth, self-esteem, or self-love. So
Yes. Mhm.
self-worth, self-esteem, and self-love I put into one category, and confidence is in another. The
Yes,
problem is that most of the time we get those sort of mixed up and we see them as the same thing, but
exactly.
they're not. They're very, very different. If you like, we could say that confidence is more external and self-worth is more internal.
Hmm.
So what I mean by that is that confidence is about your ability to do things. So for
Hmm.
instance, you, Joy, right now you're able to do this radio show, this
Hmm.
fantastic show.
Hmm.
And, I would say that after doing so many of these, you'd get pretty confident. Would I be right?
That would be right. That would be right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So when we do stuff physically, we can get good at those things and we can be confident in doing those things. It might be you confident in cooking a meal. It might be confident in the way you dress. It might be confident in me fixing a car. Not me. I'm no good at fixing a car. I'm not confident at
Yeah.
fixing a car.
Uh-huh.
So don't ask me don't ask me to fix the car
I love
because
that.
it'll be a disaster. Not confident at all. But that's got nothing to do with how I feel about myself. Because a person could be very confident about something and still have low self-worth. Or you could be not confident about something and have a great self-worth, which is where I've got to after many, many years of work. Whereas I can say, hey, I can't fix a car. I'm terrible at it. But I also know that, yeah, I'm confident at coaching people and helping people through trauma and through their self-worth issues. I can help them with those things. I feel very confident in doing those.
Wow.
Self-worth is different. It's how you feel about yourself inside.
Love that. Let me tell you why, because you nailed it. And I'm sure that many people who are tuning in here now and will come for the replay have received it as well, Elissa. And that is how you feel about yourself is what's major and what ultimately we all have to come to. Because I think what's happening, I feel it, I see it, and I know it, is that confidence is underlined many times with not a strong sense of self worth. So, how do you speak to that? Because I feel, see, and know this in a lot of people that I dialogue with. How do you separate and know the difference?
Simply by your internal feelings. So you
Yes.
might feel confident in doing something, but you just don't feel great about yourself. That's the
Uh-huh.
difference. Or vice versa. Oh, I'm not confident in doing this, but I still feel really worthy. That you have a place on this earth because we all have a place on this earth. There is no one that is above you spiritually. There is no one who is below you spiritually. On
That's,
a spiritual realm, we are all equal, and you have a place and you have worth.
ooh, love that
That's what's
explanation.
key.
Love that explanation. And you know why, Lisa? Because bottom line is when you have a sense of confidence and you know who you are not judgmental. You see, you feel, and you know things, but you don't judge it. You say, bless whatever, and you move on because it's not your journey. Your journey is all the evolving internal knowing of you. How would you speak to that? Because that
Mm.
internal knowing of who you are comes from not being judgmental, but also having a sense of knowing they still on a journey. They haven't gotten there yet, and our journey never ends. So how do you explain that or separate that knowing to the people that you're working with? To me, that's vast.
Yes, exactly. And with being judgmental, the first thing that we need to realize is that we all judge, all of us. Uh, we all judge. We have to judge. It's actually in our best interest to judge in certain circumstances. So,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, let's say that you are um, coming home from a show late at night, you're very tired, and the shortcut is down a dark alley. You go to say, I'm going to take the shortcut. But down the end of the dark alley, you can see some people roughhousing, throwing bottles, yelling in a group. Now, you're going to make a judgment about that. And hopefully a wise one to say, okay, I think it might be better to go a different way that's well lit, even though I'll be more tired tomorrow because it's safer. So you're making a judgment there, and our judgments are important in those situations. They keep us alive, they keep us safe. The problem is with judgment is when we are feeling that low self-worth.
Yes.
And we make judgments that aren't necessarily in our favor. So it might be judging someone else for the way they look or the way they act or something they've done or an experience they've had. And this is the key thing of, compassion and empathy is so important here. So it's a little bit different. So when people say don't judge and there's no judgment, well, it's impossible to not make a judgment.
Love this.
But that's different to when we're feeling bad about ourselves, and it's just gives you a little bit of a boost sometimes, and it does for a very small amount of time. It doesn't help in the long run, but that little thing of maybe putting someone else down, maybe even putting ourselves down, can sort of give you a little bit of a moment of relief. But in the long run, it doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't heal the wounds.
Love it. And let me tell you, all the time you're giving us that really clear description about what judgment is about and how we all have it somewhat. All the time you were explaining it to us, well said. I'm thinking judgment and opinion, because the analogy that you gave, you're going down a dark alley and the kids and whoever is playing around and throwing, that you make an opinion which is based on a judgment. So they are kind of aligned and connected again. But judgment, when you're judging and you explained it to us and you're looking down on someone, or you're looking like you feel that you're above someone, that's not healthy. That's not good. And it's only when you're in your spiritual realm and you know that, do you not go in that direction. Would that align somewhat with how you explained it to us? I always keep things very simplified.
Exactly. And it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy. And the first step to this is actually admitting, hey, sometimes I judge. Sometimes I judge myself harshly. Sometimes I judge others. And sometimes my opinions come from only my experience and not other perspectives. So that's the first step, is accepting that we're human.
Yes.
We sometimes do this. But I think the most detrimental thing that we can do is in the self-judgment.
Yes.
When it's not supportive.
That leads me to what you gave me, and that speaks to what you're talking about. Why do we behave the way we do? Now, that's a never-ending question, right?
Yeah.
But you just spoke to it, but expound on that a wee bit more before we take a quick little reset.
So within our personalities, we have the ability to be able to use judgment positively.
Yes.
And opinions are really important. I mean, it's really important that we have opinions, and we do have opinions. And some of us like to, focus on those more than others, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly normal and perfectly natural. But what we need to do is also understand that we're looking at a situation from our own perspective. And we don't always know the whole picture. Like those kids down that alley throwing bottles and such. We don't actually know
exactly
their why. We don't really know their situation. We don't really know their needs. But in that situation, of course, we're just looking at our own safety, which is, really important.
Paramount.
But when we're talking to when I'm speaking with a client, or we're speaking with friends who are having some troubles, and we can go, oh, well, inside we might be thinking, well, gee, I wouldn't do that. I'd do something else. or you should do this and you should do that, but we don't really know what's driving them a lot of the time.
Oh my
And in
goodness.
my work, that's what I get to. I get to
Yes,
what's
yes, yes,
the
yes.
driver here? Why is this person in this situation? Because the only reason why a person is in a situation is, their actions got them there, and their
That's
actions are driven by their beliefs.
That's exactly what I want to end on and what we'll do. And you gave the word when you started off positive outlook, mindset, how you think and conceive, and all of that. Positive is the word. We don't want to go to the negative. So we're going to take a quick little reset. And when we come back, you led into exactly what I want to come back to. How do we get to and level off our sense of self-worth and change it for the better? That's what we're going to come back to. So
Excellent.
hold tight. This is exciting. Well, I get excited all the time. It's just my DNA. What can I tell you? I love it. And I love this lady because she's talking about what's really paramount to all of us, regardless of what cycle of life we're in. So, you know what I'm going to say. We have a group. It's called Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. And we'd love to have you there because you belong here. It's a group, a community of women who are all about change, collaboration, and communicating with each other. It's about my mantra, which I'm using everywhere now, all for one and one for all. It's about your vision, your mission, and your purpose as a unit, as a community, as a group, aligned together to support and love each other with the highest self-esteem, self-love, and our sense of self-worth. That said, there is one other group that I want to mention to you, or community that I want to mention to you, and it's one that I started and I want you to become a part of, and that's the Great Discovery. It's a community and a group where you belong. It's where if you're a course creator, speaker, coach, counselor, whatever it is that you're doing, this is global as well. And you'll find lots of meat and potatoes here that will help to support you and what you're doing and what you're about. Now, let's take a look at, I can never say her name. I don't know what it is with me, but it is what it is. From self-doubt to self-worth. Elissa's journey, a confident journey. I wish she had put her website and her email or something on this poster, because this will be sliding through back and forth everywhere. And I want you to take a screenshot or a snapshot, and you'll be able to get to, and hopefully the video. There we go. But really, we need to have that name, website, and whatever on the graphic. We didn't get that, but here you have it. Take a screenshot, take a snapshot, and make sure that you connect with this phenomenal lady. And as we go back, I want to ask you, Elissa, I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Yep,
I'll get there. Perfect doesn't exist, but that's a nice compliment. I thank you for that. How to hack your level of self-worth and change it? Because that's what I always say that we're in the time of a great awakening now. It's time for us, and especially us females. Men need it too, but my work is mainly with women, ladies who are wanting to awaken to their own sense of power and self-worth. So where do we begin? How do we hack that? What are some of the nuggets and tips and tools that you can share with us, my lady?
So the most important thing to remember, I guess, is that what we think about and what we know is our conscious mind, which is like, the old analogy of the iceberg is
Yeah,
only the tip of the iceberg.
right.
What's really driving us and running our lives is unconscious. We don't know about it until until it is conscious.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things that are laid down early in our life,
Mm-hmm.
they go deep into our unconscious. That this might be some things that significant people have said to us, or things that we've seen or experienced when we're really young. So around the age of around between 7 and 9 years of age,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we're not necessarily like a sponge, a little bit like a sponge. They say children are sponges, but it's not a indiscriminate sponge. So
Mm-hmm.
the way that things are absorbed is through significant events or through significant people to us, or a combination of the both. And then
Mm-hmm.
these are the things that get layered in deeply into our unconscious. Now, what happens then is once that's layered in, we grow up, but we're still running with those, I guess, those foundations.
Mm.
And some of those have been great. I like to use the example that most people, brush their teeth at least once a day because they believe that that's a great thing to do. And they're right.
Mm-hmm.
But that was most probably for most people, that was laid down very, very young in their life. And that's a really great thing to have in our unconscious because it doesn't feel quite right until we brush our teeth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that also some things that aren't so positive have been layered in to our unconscious. Maybe things about how we feel about ourselves come from that in regards to, their a person's worth, or that they're
Mm-hmm.
not good at something,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or that they believe that the world is out to get them, or something like that.
Uh-huh.
All our beliefs are layered in very, very young, except for a few that happen later through significant events and significant people. The majority, I'd say, like over 90%. So we're actually running the script, if you like, from those really early years.
Ooh.
But there is a way to actually hack that, like you were talking about. You also, too, mentioned a number of times the word belonging. And
Yes.
belonging, oh, belonging. It is such a powerful thing to feel that you belong.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
so important that you feel you belong. The
Oh.
problem can sometimes be who you align with in regards to that belonging,
Oh.
whether that is the belonging for something that serves you and serves the world and serves other people, or whether that belonging doesn't. But we must belong. So choosing choosing that belonging is very, very important.
Oh
Uh,
my.
so the work that you do is just, sends shivers down my
Oh no,
spine.
you're sending shivers down mine now, my friend, because when you said that sense of belonging, and I was thinking about how you were speaking, and you brought us to this about how as young people between the ages of, I think you said 7 and 9, we're all like sponges. And even though that's a great part of what we absorb and take in, there are other events and things that happen. But then you brought in belonging. There's that hunger, that thirst, that starving for attention today. And what I'm somewhat it's upsetting to me, and I'm figuring out a way to work the language. Much of the old, it's gone. It's not coming back. It's passe. But the foundational stuff, language is important. And four-letter words and the foul mouth and potty mouth, you hear and see it everywhere now. And now you go wherever. I'm saying, what happened to us? That brings me back to judging and opinions. So I'm thinking all the stuff that you share, and who do you want to belong to? Where do you want to belong? And all of this is percolating, simmering up here in my noodle. So you have nailed it. This need, this hunger to belong. Share with us a little bit about contingent upon your self-worth, self-love, self-esteem. Where does that stem from? Because that's major today, but it always
Mm.
has been.
It is indeed. It's a human need to belong. It's very tribal and it's very primitive, if you like. It's been there since
Yes.
the dawn of humankind, is that sense to belong because it actually keeps us alive.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with belonging to a community, I guess, that doesn't fully support us is that it keeps us small. But when we're belonging to a community that helps us to grow and supports that growth, that's where we can really make a change on a deep level. So undoing some of those childhood beliefs and
Yes.
behaviors is you do need to tap into exactly where they're held, the core, which is in our unconscious. And
Mm-hmm.
this is one of the reasons why I became a clinical hypnotherapist, because I just love getting in there and figuring out what's going on and changing that to what you want to believe,
Yes.
not what's given to you as a child or through situations that have happened through your life, ones that you choose. Like, think about the belief that the world supports you. rather than the world's against you, which you may have, many people are brought up with that. Oh, gotta fight the system and the world's against me.
You
Think
mentioned
about think about how if you had the belief that the world is for you, what would you do differently? How would you be in your day?
mm, you mentioned belief, and you mentioned that belonging, and that somewhat primitive. Of course, it is. We're human, and so on. But that primitive and that hunger, that longing to belong, you said it gets to be knowing who you are and what your self-worth and where do you want to belong and who are you, because that belonging, when you're not aligned with what's your core and who you really are at your core, that's where issues that are not healthy can stem from. Is that not so?
Yeah, so out of every belief that you have, a behavior comes from that. So it starts with a belief. So every behavior we do is because we believe something. And even if we're not aware of what that belief is, even if it's deep down in
It's
our unconscious,
pervasive. Hmm.
if you look at your behaviors, it's a little bit of a hack to find out what's actually hidden underneath.
And that hidden underneath will be where the magic and the secret sauce is that helps you to evolve to who you
Indeed.
are here to
Indeed.
be.
Indeed. Because the first step is having awareness. The first step is awareness. You
Yes.
can't do anything without awareness.
Well, you know what? I'll toot my own horn here. That's why I label myself now the minister of enlightenment, awareness, and awakenings, because we are deep in the throngs of that awakening, especially for us females, and owning our power. Tell us how, thus far, I heard you say earlier, and I really wanted to piggyback on that. Now is the time. You said you'd like to dwell and go in deep and find that secret sauce and that magic bullet to help people to rise to where they need to be. Have you always had that thirst, that hunger to go deep and help support people find that? You mentioned a little bit earlier, but expound on that a wee bit more, because the time goes so quickly here, and you and I could go on and on and on.
So, well, not initially, because I was in the throes of
Yes.
my own dramas, if you like. But
Hmm.
when I started to heal,
Hmm.
I started to heal the wounds, and then I realized that actually I'm not alone, and there's a lot of other people that could be helped with this.
Wow.
So, rather than just, I guess, having that done to me, I really wanted to understand the machinations, if you like,
Yes.
of what's going on inside a human psyche to create whatever's being created for a person, whether that be, something that they deem positive or they deem negative. And that thrilled me because I thought, gee, not only can I help myself here,
Yes.
but I can help other people too. And I'll tell you what, that feels great. There's
Yes.
just, people think, oh, that's a real selfless thing.
No, no, no.
That's only half of it, because every person that I help, I get a huge kick out of that.
Yes. Yes.
That's my drug.
I love it. I just love it. And you know what you said that really makes me even more so, because you said you first discovered and found and started to delve into your own drama. Because there's a little bit of that drama. I don't care how quiet and meek and you might be, there's that drama. But then that's how you get inside and get to know and begin to evolve through the knowing to build and grow your own confidence. I think the work you're doing is stupendous. I really do. I'm going to ask my engineer to put up your poster once again. And the next time you do this poster, put your website on there or something. But this is from self-doubt to self-worth, a confident journey. What parting words, my friend? The time flies here, it goes so quickly. I say this every week. Take a screenshot or a snapshot, friends, and make sure that you connect with this beautiful soul. Tell us what words of wisdom, what takeaway you want people to walk away with after they view and listen to what you shared with us today. The stage is yours.
With the right support and the right mindset, you can change your life.
I think that's great. And you know what?
In a nutshell.
That's it in a nutshell, because change comes when you have something ignited within you that says, whoops, I can't do this anymore, it's time. And most of us seek out guidance, people who will support us in that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My engineer is going to scoot you in the green room, and I'll be with you in just a second. Friends,
Thank
what
you.
can I say? You are most welcome. I just adore the work that this lady is doing. And your assignment, you know, we love homework here, is to connect with her. In the meantime, we're going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus here for the month of June because of all the things that are going on in my life, this major transition. But we'll be back with you in July. In the meantime, I end with this always, and I end with it because it's from my heart to your heart. Be well, take care of you first, which is what our featured guest speaker is sharing with you today. Get your self-esteem, self-worth, and self-love aligned with the innate confidence that's within you waiting, if it's not there already. And remember that we're always here for you, and we'd love for you to join our community. And until we connect the next time, and we will, and soon, sending you from my heart to yours, much, much love, and all the best always. Cheers.